What is going on, everyone? It's AP over here at Ron Pierce Sports. We are bringing you the Players Championship this week. I'm really pumped for it. Golf has been absolute fire, except for a few crappy takes last week. I got to fall on the sword on that one. I'm very embarrassed to even admit that I was, touting Ricky Fowler last week, and I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of shit for it. So we might as well get that out of the way, right at the start, guys. Because that was an embarrassing take. My good friend Hoop was trying to talk me out of it the whole time, and I wasn't listening. I mean, we live and learn. It is what it is. But anyways, I'm here with my two main guys. First, we got Hoop. Hoop, what's going on, man? How was your week last week? Hopefully it was better than mine.
Man, it was close. It was a very close week for me, and obviously, any week that Richie Werenski is in contention at the end of the tournament, your boy Hoop is going to be in contention in the GPP streets, and that was the case last week. Werenski got it done for us right there at the end, and I gave you a lot of shit about the Ricky Fowler thing, but man, I'm so disappointed in myself for the fucking mistake of Rory McIlroy. I mean, we've been right about Rory all season long. Dating back till the restart last year, we've been right about Ricky Fowler. And I locked him in last week, and our boy Landa in the chat, rightfully so, pointed out, sent me the tweet, tagged me on it, like, man, you should have never changed your opinion on Rory. It was a mistake. It's just very simple with the guy. Like, if he is too close to the lead, he'll fall back on the weekend every single time. And that was the case. He was too close. He had that big round on Thursday, the only round he really played well. Decent on Saturday, still in contention. He's one or two shots back. Too close, and then just fell apart. I mean, I am so disappointed in myself for playing Rory, but it was a close week. I think we're going to get it done this week. I really like this field, really like this event. A lot of different ways to go. I mean, this course brings a lot of different types of golfers into play, and I'm glad Snyder's on with us tonight, because he is very good at breaking down these courses, breaking down these golfers, and finding the hidden gems that we need this week.
Yeah, speaking of that, we had to upgrade this week. Uncle T will be on tomorrow, so we upgraded, and we got our boy Snyder on here. You hear me, Uncle T? We upgraded. We got Snyder on tonight. Let's go. Our upgrade, Snyder, he is our guy behind the scenes. He helps with the playbook. He does the Showdown playbook every single day, rounds 1 through 4, and we print with that thing. So, Snyder, the floor is yours, my friend. How was your week last week?
My week was a little brutal, GPP-wise. I mean, my cash team did well. I mean, we got through the line on the cash games and all that. And yeah, I had some bad takes in GPPs.
Oh, so no, Snyder, no bad. All right, so let's go back. We got to break this down for like 2 seconds, because I have not seen this before. I mean, you had the outright winner, 4 of the last 5 weeks of golf? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah,
4 of the last 5 weeks of golf.
Definitely wasn't this week, though. It was a good run, but hopefully we'll get back on the horse this week.
I know we got Uncle T in the chat, and he says, easy, AP, I can hear you. No, you know what, Uncle T? No, we're not taking it easy on you, all right, man? You chose the Wednesday crew over the Tuesday crew this week, so we're not going to take it easy on you. Very, very hurtful, as our boy JT says. No free pass for Uncle T.
What's so funny is I think Uncle T's core absolutely smashed last week. So we're going to give him shit. I promise you, we're definitely going to give him shit. But I do have to say that his core was, and he had Werenski, I believe, or did he have Werenski in it? I mean, it was a fire core for sure. So shout out to him, but we're still going to give you shit. With that in mind, guys, let's get on to the Players Championship, which is at TPC Sawgrass. Just an awesome event, and if you're not familiar, like, this is last year. I remember I was sweating bullets. I'm like, are they going to shut down golf? They just had shut down NBA, and I'm like, are they really going to shut down golf? We had one round in. Matsuyama shoots like 9 under on that opening round, and then they shut everything down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You guys have anything you want to mention about the course? So here's the other thing. We don't have, our boy our boy Uncle T, he always goes, deep into the course. Whereas me, I'm kind of like, if I was breaking this course down, there's a ton of water. You gotta get lucky. You gotta avoid the water here. You gotta be a good ball striker. Outside of that, I do have a couple nuggets. Snyder, do you have anything you want to mention about the course this week? Like something that you're looking at?
I will say that this course is usually Bermuda grass in May, but they moved the event back to March, so it'll be overseeded with fine fescue and ryegrass throughout the fairways and rough. And the greens will be overseeded with bent grass and POA, which should give it a less grainier, better roll than Bermuda grass greens usually are. And yeah, I think there's like 88 bunkers here and 17 holes with water on play, so there's lots of danger out there.
So here's the other thing, guys, is Snyder actually manages and does the course management at a really nice golf course here in our town, Firethorn Golf Course, and does a phenomenal job with that. So when you're talking about these greens, does that help like a bad putter like Benny On, Keegan Bradley, or does it help a good putter like Webb Simpson?
I mean, Webb's usually more Bermuda grass is where I like to target Webb at, but I think it'll be better. Like Morikawa putted a lot better on bent grass than he did POA, so I think that could help some of those guys like that.
Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense. So the interesting tidbit that I took away, so a few winning trends I was looking at. So the first one is 13 of the past winners here have finished 23rd or better the year previously, okay? The next trend that I combined with that is 8 out of the last 10 winners of the players, they had already finished T5 or better in the current year. So when you're looking at this field, that brings 4 guys into play, and I think you're going to like these 4 guys. It's Dustin Johnson. So he's obviously finished T5 or better, and he was, I think, like 3rd or like within the top 5 in 2019. John Rahm, Webb Simpson, and Tony Finau. So, I mean, all 4 guys that I think, kind of fit the mold. I think, Colin Morikawa would be another guy you could throw into that list. He obviously won a couple weeks ago. You could throw Bryson into that list too, I think. Actually, yeah, he is in that list. I didn't highlight him, so my bad. 5. We got to add Bryson in there. So 5 guys that I think we all could definitely get behind this week. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Helps us out, helps us keep this free. And then also, we have recently enhanced and upgraded our website over at rumpiersports.com. You'll notice, we have a fresh look over there. We're still in the process of making updates. We've had some issues on mobile. Those are all getting fixed. They're all going to be fixed before NBA starts back up. Again, if you haven't, if you're not a member yet, subscribe. We have a promo going on right now. Hoop, I got to kick it to you. This is your idea. I love the idea. Talk to the people about the promo that we have going on.
Yeah, so basically the promo is you have to sign up at Rumpier Sports. You have to use the promo code FREETICKET and choose a monthly package. If you do that, you will be eligible for a free entry into the DraftKings $600 tournament for NBA on Thursday night. The drawing will take place during the NBA Hardwood Show with me, Big T, and I believe it will be JT Hayes. So if you sign up for that monthly package, use the promo code FREETICKET. You'll automatically be entered into the drawing, which will take place Wednesday during the Hardwood Show, and you'll get an entry. Basically, as we're live on the show, you'll get an entry sent to you from DraftKings to the NBA DK $600 contest that night. The second way you can win a ticket is if you're already a member. If you're already a member at Rumpier Sports, we're going to draw one member that we have, draw their names, and whoever it is, they will be eligible. Then the third way, which we need a lot of work to get there, we'll be giving away a third ticket if we hit these 2 parameters. Basically, we have to hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Right now we're at about 4,500, so a lot of work to go there. Then we got to hit 10,000 followers on Twitter, and I haven't looked in a while, but we were around 92. Let's pull it up and see. Of course, it's not going to work. Let's see. Run here. All right, so we're still about 90, 92, 93. So a lot of work to go to get to that third ticket. But the easiest way you can get in that drawing is to sign up if you're not a member for a monthly package. Use the promo code free ticket. You'll automatically be enrolled into that drawing, which will take place on Thursday.
Very good. Again, if you haven't been with us, what we do is we go tier by tier. We're looking at DraftKings pricing. We're looking at the Players Championship, and we're going to find winners. It's what we do every week. Very confident in our process. Hasn't failed me yet, outside of my own donkey calls. None of those are going to be happening this week. I can promise you that. I feel very confident, actually, about this week, which is always good. So it's a week where I'm definitely up in volume. There's a lot of good contests. I have a good feeling Hoop's going to have a big week, and it's going to be fun. All right, so we're going to start with this 10K range, 10K up to Dustin Johnson, the GOAT. Snyder, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about this range. Who's popping for you? Who do you like?
Yeah, when I look at these higher up ranges in these weaker field or softer pricing fields, I generally like to jam in as much win equity as I can and not go as high up on these. But I do like Rom. I mean, he was in contention here. What was it, 2019? Before he dunked the ball in the water on number 11, and he kind of went downhill from there. Hoop will kind of come at me after this, but I haven't been on Rory yet, but I do feel like he's right on the cusp.
We've been saying that for a year and a half. And I fell victim to it last week. Don't do it.
Yeah. He's coming off of a 10th and a 6th place finish. He was right there last week until he rinsed a couple on number 6, and then it was straight ejection from there. But I don't know. If no one's gonna go there, I kind of like him. Another guy I'm always on is Xander. He's hasn't been playing the best lately, but he always shows up for these big time events, and he got 2nd place here, I believe, in 2018. So I have some conviction on him as well.
I like it. So Dustin Johnson is not crossing your list, Snyder? Or
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Fair enough. Hoop, I got to kick it over to you. I personally feel that the 9K and up range is absolutely loaded, but 10K and up, we got so many golfers. Talk to me about what you're doing with this range. Who's popping for you?
Yeah. So I've had a lot of success in PGA DFS in these loaded fields and these majors specifically, just going all the way up to the top and playing some of these guys because their ownership is typically lower, to be honest with you. People love the balance builds, and that's like the popular route to go. I'm having a hard time this week, though, selling myself on these guys at the top. I think Dustin Johnson comes in low owned at 11.2, but the problem is it's like, okay, he's at 11.2, and you come down to this 9K range, and there's guys that I think have, not as much win equity, but pretty damn close. There's a lot of guys in that 9K range that could come out and win this event easily. So I'm having a hard time clicking some of these names at the top. I do agree with Snyder in the fact that I think Rom is probably my favorite. I think Rom, would you say Rom's your favorite up here, Snyder?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in agreement there. Like Rom's the one guy I think I'm going to get some exposure to. Was that the event when his caddy was basically telling him just to lay up and he said, screw it, I'm going for the green, right?
Correct. Yeah,
I can remember that shot. I think it was him and Fleetwood that were kind of there at the end.
I think he made it halfway across the pond.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Literally, it wasn't even close. It was like an impossible shot. And I remember that. But I think he's a smarter golfer now and just better all around. So I'm going to be probably on him at the 10-9 price tag. You guys heard what I said about Rory in the opening. I disappointed in myself that that was a week. That was a field. That tournament was his. After round one, that's – If you're a real big name golfer, you go out there and you win that event after firing a 6 under. That's your event to lose. He can't win. He's just afraid to win tournaments. When he gets close, he falls apart. It's been a long damn time. Screw him. Just not playing him. Xander, I like Xander as a golfer, but like I said, like those guys in the 9K range, these guys that are $1,000 cheaper, to me are the same golfers. Like they're the same. Yes, can Xander come out and win this event? 100%. Could DJ come out and win this event? 100%. All these guys can win, but when you click those names, you're losing win equity, like you said, Snyder. Like you're sacrificing another spot that could potentially win this event, because when you start getting that 7K range, especially when you start getting that 6K range, with the exception of Werenski, there's not a lot of win equity. So I'm gonna be on Rom. I'm gonna probably be off the rest of these guys, which is not what I typically do in these events. I know most of them are honestly, they're probably going to be low owned. Dustin Johnson's not going to have high ownership. Rory definitely won't. Xander, he might get a little bit, but this range is going to have some lower ownership. But I still am having a hard time selling myself on coming up here all that often.
Yeah, Hoop, you need to like be louder and talking shit to anyone else that's touting Werenski right now, because no one has touted him. Absolutely no one. So I started following this guy 4 weeks ago, when I'm like, okay, I remember I sent you a DM. I'm like, this guy's actually pretty good. I believe you. And he's just printed. It's been insane. It's such a good call. And now he's projected to be like 5 to 7% owned, when he's been like 0.5%. It's just been nuts. I'm in agreement with you guys. So when I first went over the slate, I wanted to fade John Rahm. I wanted to fade Dustin Johnson because what was leading me to that decision was the stacked 9K range. And, it's just easier to make a build. However, man, if you throw away the WGC event, which if you weren't a golfer that was just locked in and focused, you could absolutely make a monster score that week. We saw it with Hovland, who bounced back nicely. But if you just weren't dialed in and up for that event, you weren't going to do very well, which was the case for John Rahm and Dustin Johnson, who T54, T32. If you just erase those from your memory, very few golfers out there have better recent form than them. And they have the form that we're looking for. John Rahm ranks 3rd in ball striking over his last 24 rounds. Ranks 4th in tee to green, which is 2 stats that I am weighting heavily this week. Dustin Johnson, 3rd tee to green, 10th ball striking, 5th on approach, which is another massive stat that you got to look at. And then he's also 1st in greens of regulation, which, we want to avoid all the water out here. Very few golfers have better control of their swing and command over the golf ball than those 2 guys right now. I have a ton of interest in them. So it's funny. I went my first run through the playbook. I went, I wanted to fade them. Now I want to be extremely overweight, or at least have exposure to them, because they give us the most win equity in that group. And then you have Rory, who just, man, if you heard his presser today, I didn't hear all of it, but he's already building in excuses. It's just insane. This guy has no confidence right now, which is not what we want to see. Eventually he'll get back. He's one of the best, or, was the best and is one of the best golfers in the world. You got to have the confidence though. If you're already making excuses for yourself heading into an event, that's not a guy that I want to be on. And what's painful is we have been on Bryson so much, and we got off of him. We locked in on Rory, and man, if we would have just stuck to our guns, we would have. It would have been a Bryson, Werenski. I don't want to think about it. So for me, I'm very high on those 2 guys. I think I'm going to fade Rory, and I think I'm going to fade Xander, just because I view all of these guys we're going to talk about in the 9K range very similar to Xander, and I get a discount on it. So for me, my favorite play is Dustin Johnson in this range, closely followed by Xander. Snyder, can you give me your 1 and 2?
John Rahm and Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, I can be fine with that. Who?
Yeah, Rahm, and I guess DJ by default. I mean, the thing about DJ is I think the ownership is going to come in way lower than people think. The projected ownership I'm seeing is 15, 16, 17%. I think we could even see it lower than that, to be honest with you. I don't see many people clicking his name this week, because that balance build just looks so nice. So, just to play on your thoughts, if you want to get over the field on DJ, I don't think you need a ton this week. I really don't think you need a ton of ownership to get way over the field on him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm showing 10.7%. So,
yeah, I think
which I think is, yeah. Yeah, very good. We're going to go down to the 9K range. Before we do so, head over to the new site. The shop is up and going. We're going to have we have our new marketing person that we just brought on, working on some of the gear and swag. We're gonna have a lot of fun, t-shirts and different designs going on. One of the one is right now that we have up there is our hit the bench t-shirt. All our exercise here. We don't do a ton of exercise. We get our exercise on the workbench. It's what we do. Go get that t-shirt. All right, so Snyder, I'm going to kick it to you again. 9K range again, man. I personally feel this range is. There are many guys in this range who I feel continue to get disrespected from a price standpoint. One of them is your boy Bryson DeChambeau, right? Talk to us about how much you like Bryson, and are you going to be overweight on him this week?
Absolutely zero Bryson will be in my player pool. But when I do look at this, I mean, there's 8 guys here in this range. It's just stacked, loaded range, and I've narrowed it down to 3 guys. I mean, I know JT and Webb will be the most popular here.
I mean, Snyder, we got, we have 8 guys, and then we have a man in Bryson DeChambeau that we got to talk about, right?
But we got the GOAT.
I don't know how he gets around the golf course with Big T hanging from his freaking sack every week. He's got that. He's got all that extra weight, and then he's got Big T's fat ass hanging from behind as well.
The last time my boy Morikawa and him met up, didn't end well for Bryson. But yeah, I like Justin Thomas. I know he'll be very chalky. I liked how he gained 9 strokes approach last week. I mean, last week he lost 5 strokes off the tee. The week before he lost 5 strokes putting. The week before he lost like 3 strokes around the green. I feel like he's really close to just breaking out, and he's going to go hard one of these events. And then I'm going to roll down to my boy Morikawa. He's absolutely the best ball striker on tour. The guy, if he gains putting, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And right below that, I like Tony Finau. I think he's a little quite a bit underpriced at 9.1. I mean, he doesn't have much win equity, but top 5 Tony will definitely be there in the end, I feel.
I like that name.
Got it. So here's a good analogy, okay? When it comes to Justin Thomas, I compare that, we could compare that to Big T when he's talking about the Nuggets, okay? And because I love Justin Thomas. He's one of my favorite golfers. I just really appreciate his game. My fear with him right now is his off the tee game. It's not been good, which is very important here. If you don't have command of your ball off the tee, the fairways here are a little bit easier to hit, but there's so much water, there's so much penalty, and his ownership is going to be very high. So Hoop, let me kick it to you. Talk a little bit about Justin Thomas, but then obviously talk about this range and what you're doing with this range.
I mean, this is so tough because I look at this range and it's all my favorite guys every week. And the one guy I'll cross off obviously is Patrick Reed. I just typically don't play him. If he beats me, he beats me, and in this field, I'm fine taking that chance. So he's off the list. Just starting at the top, I mean, Justin Thomas, at 9.9. I mean, that's kind of what I was talking about with those guys in that top tier. Justin Thomas, he belongs in that top tier, and he's not in that top tier. He's under 10K. This is a guy that we typically are paying the premium for. 9.9, I think, is a fair price for him. You're basically, getting this discount because the recent form hasn't been all that great, but whatever. At that work day, he battled, and he had all 4 rounds, and got better. I mean, there's some weather issues in that at that event, but he opened up with the 73. Everyone was willing to just write him off at that point. He bounced back and got himself a T15. I think the momentum's building. I actually watched his press conference today, and he had some nice quotes in there. Someone asked him about Jordan Spieth and their boys, and he's like, yeah, now that Jordan's playing better, he's like, it's going to actually push me to continue and work harder to get better. I mean, someone like him doesn't want to get beat by Jordan Spieth, who's been complete dust the last 2 years. So I don't know. There's a lot I think working in his favor. I really like him, and this week to me with these loaded fields, I don't think you need to be worried about ownership all that much. All these guys are going to come in between 15 and like 20%. I mean, pretty much all these guys. Dustin Johnson's going to come in a little lower. John Rahm will be in that probably 15 to 20% range. All these guys in the 9K range, probably somewhere between 15 and 20 for the most part. It's easy to get over the field when that's the case. Now, Bryson comes in at 9.7, and I initially thought that he'd be really, really popular coming off the win last week, but ownership saying otherwise, and people aren't really going to him because this isn't like a Bombers type course. At 9.7, you're getting a discount. I mean, and if he's not going to be highly, I just figured right out of the gate, you know what? He's going to be highly owned because he's under 10K. He's coming off that win last week. And it doesn't seem like that's the case. Like, people are talking themselves off him. He has, like, you have to adjust it as you go on. He's a guy that can just win golf tournaments. Like, I was talking about Rory, how he can't win. Like, Bryson can win. As much as I don't necessarily like him, I just I don't know. He can win, and he's 9.7, and he's not going to be all that owned. So I'm going to probably be on him a little bit. I mean, I don't know. What do you see him for the ownership on him, AP?
Under 10% is what I'm seeing.
For Bryson?
I kind of agree with it, yeah, which is crazy.
Wow. Okay. If that's the case, I'm going to be, if he's under 10%, I'm going to play him. I don't care. I don't really play him all that often, but a guy coming off a win, and he's not a guy like, I rarely play guys when they come off a win. If someone's coming off a win, I usually just write him off, but he's a guy that the way he goes about business, I don't think you necessarily have to do that, because he is always working, always figuring out ways to improve his game, trying to be. Now, I don't agree with what he's doing, because if you're going to bomb it, 360 yards in some of these holes, you need to make sure your wedge game and your short irons are on point. And he's still a disaster with those, which is obviously the concerning part. But if he's coming in low owned, I'm going to play him. Webb Simpson, I absolutely love at 9.5K. Perfect course for him. I just think he's one of the more underrated golfers on tour. Like, no one gives him respect, and he's just as consistent as all these other big name guys. So at 9.5, I love him. Snyder's favorite golfer, Morikawa. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, it was frustrating for a little while there. If he's just an average putter, if he comes out to an event and he's an average putter, he's going to be in contention just about every single week. I think he has the best iron play in the game. His approach game, I think, is the best in the game, just from an eye test. I don't care about the stats. I don't give a crap about the stroke gains numbers. I watch this stuff. He can put that thing within 10 feet so damn consistently. If he makes half those putts, he is in contention and likely wins. That's what happened last time out when he got the win at the workday. Just did solid with the putting, got the win. Hovland, Cantlay, love them both. Tony Finau at 9.1K. I play Tony Finau every week. He's now 9.1K. Like Snyder said, I think this is a value price tag. I absolutely love this range. Probably have to make some cuts though, and that's what I'm struggling this week. Like, who do you cut in this range? Because to me, they're all really, really solid plays.
Yeah, I mean, Snyder and I were just talking about that, and the cut that we were talking about was like Victor Hovland, which seems crazy, but like when you compare him to, like, you could make a case that Victor Hovland might be like a little tired or something. He's played in like every event. Like, I can't remember the last time he didn't play. So, but this range is stacked. So, like, for me, I mean, I got to talk about Morikawa too. And it's funny that, when I was, kind of poking fun at Snyder about Bryson, we in Discord, we're always in there talking about Bryson versus Morikawa. We love both of those guys. I know Tony loves Morikawa, but he's always given. You guys have what's your bet that you guys have going right now?
Yeah, our bet is career long bet. Morikawa versus Bryson every major. It's $100 head to head, and then if one wins, it's $200. And if you want to buy out, it's $500.
Gotcha. That's fun. I mean, these guys are going to be, winning majors. So the thing about, like, every time I talk to a guy, like if I'm out on the course, out of Firethorn, talking to a guy who's a scratch golfer, and I ask him, like, what separates, you from like that next level? They all say the approach game. You're like getting inside 10 feet consistently. there are not many that can do it like Morikawa does. It's really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at his last 24 rounds, he ranks first in approach, second ball striking, second tee to green, 6 good drives off the tee, and 4th in green and regulation. And this is one of the most stacked fields that we're going to see in quite some time. It's very impressive. All of those rankings are relative to the field. So, man, like, I agree with Hoop. Like, ownership doesn't really matter. I think we'll get a discount on Morikawa. I think we'll get a discount on Bryson because people don't like playing guys off a win because in their mind, they're like, hey, he just won, so he's not going to win again, which, like, is not the case at the players. We see it all the time. The players, the consistent thing that we see is you need to be playing good. Like that stat that I referenced, the only reason I referenced it was because to get in our minds that we want someone who just won. Like that is who we want to target this week, someone who won, who is in good form. I would almost discount course history here a little bit, and I would weigh heavily current form. Like you want some course history. Like you want a guy that like at least has played this course. But again, most of these guys have probably played it. I mean, didn't Tony play this course like a year or two ago? I mean, anyone can go and play TPC. Like, you know, it's a public course. You just got to pay what, $500? So again, anyways, for me in this range, it's completely stacked. I love Morikawa. I love Webb Simpson. Love Bryson. And you know, Justin Thomas. Like
you do like Bryson?
Yeah, I do. So here's why with Bryson is he ranks first in tee to green. He ranks first in ball striking. His approach game is a little shaky, obviously, but we saw the one thing. If you look at Rory, when he won in 2019, he was leaning on his big driver, and he had shaky parts of his game in that round. But he overcame it with the distance that he was getting, gave him enough of an advantage, and then he was making putts too. So you don't want to fully discount the Bombers here. They can have success. For me, what it does is just solidifies that we want to target guys who are in good form. Look at Rory. The year that he won, he was on that heater. And like he was every week, it was top five, top five, top five. This is 2019. So this isn't last year. Because they didn't play it or finish it last year. 2019, when he won the FedEx Cup or whatever, and you know got his $10 million, he won the Players. Like he was absolutely on fire. That's what I'm saying. We want to target the guys that are playing the best. We don't shy away from Morikawa. Don't shy away from Bryson. Don't shy away from these guys that are playing good. And for me, what I want to do is actually give them a bump over, say, like a Justin Thomas, who's going to be chalkier. Like I do, like I'm not fading Justin Thomas. I'm going to have a share of Justin Thomas, but I don't think I'm going to be overweight on him because I want to make sure I have exposure to some of these other guys. So for me, my favorite play, and then, the other guy is Tony Finau. He's a guy who I think could end up lower owned because he's missed the cut here twice in 16 and 17. But ever since then, he's gotten better. He finished T22 in 19. So that fits the criteria that we talked about. And then he's been, very few have better. He's not winning, but DFS-wise, we don't necessarily need him to win, especially not at 9.1K. So, like, I have a ton of interest in Tony Finau. If you're Tony Finau, you're coming into this event thinking that you can win. Like, you've almost won the last, 5 events that you've played. So, ton of interest in Finau. I think we get all of these guys at a discount too, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So for me, it's very hard to rank my 1 and 2, but I'm going to say Morikawa and Bryson. They just won, I get it, but I'm going to say they're my 1 and 2s. I'm going to lean on their recent form, and that's kind of how I'm going to approach this week. So Snyder, give me your 1 and 2 in this range.
Morikawa and Finau.
I like it. Who?
Gosh, it's tough. I love all these guys. Finau and Webb Simpson.
Yeah, Webb is just, oh man, he's another guy who's been playing so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel very good about this week, guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. There's going to be zero odds. All our members are going to be watching this. It's going to be a tilt-free week, outside of maybe Pensac because he's going to tilt right away. It's because it's what he does. But let's go down to this 8K range. Snyder, let me kick it over to you. Talk again, a loaded range. There's a lot of good plays down here too. So.
Yeah, a lot of good plays down here. The three names that really stick out to me is Scotty Scheffler, Paul Casey, and Tommy Fleetwood. Scotty he's another guy that's just right on the cusp. I feel like a win is just right on the horizon for him. I mean, he's got a super high upside. He's off like 5th, 20th, and a 7th, I believe. Last year he played here. He was 4 under in his first round before it got postponed. His approach game is really on the upside, and off the tee, he's ranking in pretty strong over the last 50 rounds. Paul Casey, he enters off probably the best form ever into this field. He says he's glad that he's actually been playing more leading up to this event versus past years. He's got 5 straight top 12s leading into this. He's hit 75% of his greens and regulations over 4 of his last 5 rounds, which is huge for here. And he ranks 2nd in bogey avoidance. And the last guy I like is Tommy Fleetwood. His game is really shaping back into form. Got 10th last week. He's played really well here in Florida. He's got a 5th place finish and a 7th place finish here at the Players in his last 2 appearances. And he gained 4.7 strokes approach last week, so the irons are really starting to come back. I really like the play him here in Florida.
Gosh,
and that's about it.
If you just look at his course history here, it's you might be onto something with the Florida narrative. People play look at Cantlay. He owns California. It is what it is. Like, I believe in that stuff. Like, someone asked me, like, are you a course history guy? And I'd say it depends. It really depends. There's certain times where, yeah, I am. There's certain times where I'm not. Like, I don't think I can give a straight answer. So I like that mention with Tommy Fleetwood. I wanted to play him last week. I couldn't do it. And, he did very well. T10. We would have taken that at his price tag. Hoop. Let me switch it, throw it over to you. Stacked 8K range. Who's popping for you?
Yeah, it's another tough one. Because there's some options here, and if you're gonna do a lot of damage in that 9K range, it's tough to load up on too many of these guys. I plan on having a lot of those guys in the 9Ks, so I'm always going to be on Berger. I think it's another guy that has a nice price tag at 8.8. He has win equity. He really does. So like him, Paul Casey, I agree. Paul Casey's been just playing some phenomenal golf. You look at the results. Dating back to the American Express, 8th, 1st, 12th, 5th, 10th. He was right there. A few better shots, and he was right in contention last week. 70, 69, 72, 74. That was good at that course. He's been solid. So definitely going to be on Paul Casey at 8.4. Another guy playing really, really well is Fitzpatrick, 17th, 5th, 11th, 10th. Playing really solid golf, and he's one of those guys. He grinds it out. He one of the better putters. He gets up there, 10-foot putts. Just you have some confidence that he's going to make it. Have some interest in Jason Day at 8K. He's another guy who's been playing respectably well. He's not in the greatest form, but you're 8K. You're paying 8K for him. 7th, 18th, 30th. He had one of the worst rounds, actually. A lot of people struggled round 4 last week. He had one of the worst. He shot a 79. But you can give a big pass to some of that. Really tough conditions on Sunday. Then I agree with Fleetwood. I talked a lot of shit about him on the last show. I wanted to see a good event over here, and that's kind of what we got last week with him. Everything he always plays good, across the pond. I wanted to see one event solid here, and that's kind of what we got last week, the T10, and he was steady, 70, 70, 68, then shot the 77 in round 4 when everyone was struggling, but he was right there at that event in the 4th round. Told myself I just want to see one solid event over here, and that was it. He's 7.9. if he's anywhere close to 100% with his form, 7-9 for him is way too cheap. Like, he is a guy that's in that 9K range with Finau, with Cantlay when he's at the top of his game, and he might be pretty close. So I really like the Fleetwood call as well.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. So like for me in this range, actually, Snyder Fleetwood dipped. He's in that 8K or 7K range. So we got ahead of ourselves there. I can't believe I let that one slip, but yeah. he just goes. He's too cheap. So it makes a ton of sense. For me in this range, starting up at the top, I think it's stacked. Snyder, your comments about Scottie Scheffler are spot on. He just looks like a guy that could win the Players' Champ. Like, Ricky Fowler won this, okay? Like, Scottie Scheffler is better, like all around better than Ricky Fowler, even when he won back when he did. Like, Scottie Scheffler just seems like a guy that will get hot and eventually win this specific event at some point in time. He has the game for it. And he's coming off a nice fifth place finish at a course, down here in Florida. So ton of interest in him. And then Daniel Berger is a guy that it seems like now Hoop every week I'm telling you, DraftKings keeps disrespecting Daniel Berger and his price. It's crazy. Yeah. He has a perfect course fit here. Very, very solid ball striker, very solid tee to green, very solid on approach. That's what we want. And his putter has been very, very hot, and it has not cooled off at all. So ton of interest in him. Hideki Matsuyama. I don't think either of you guys mentioned him. I actually have interest in him quite a bit. He finished 15th at the WGC event, 18th at the Arnold Palmer. I think that's very significant for his confidence in his game. So here's the other thing too. What we saw in the one round last year that was played here was some phenomenal scoring. With this event switching back a month or two, I think like the weather's going to be calmer. We're not going to see as much wind. I think we're going to see some better scoring here. I think the winner could be, Snyder, do you think the winner could be minus 18, 20 under maybe? Like, I feel like we're going to see a birdie fest, and it's going to be the ball strikers leading the way. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I was projecting around like that 15 to 19 range for the winner this week.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
With that, like, Matsuyama is going to be hitting them so close. You got to love his course history here. T8, he's missed a cut in 18. T22, T7, T17. And you got to like his recent form. Like, I just think it's so good. And then we got Tyrell Hatton, who is another guy, 4th ball striking, 6 on approach. He's a hothead, though. But you have to like and admire how he battled back last week after his disastrous first round. We had Pinsack, jumping off his roof after the first round when Hatton was like 5 or 6 over or whatever it was. Dude battles back and, finishes T21. I thought that was very impressive. His game very, very much fits this course. You got Paul Casey, who's just playing phenomenal, like you said. So, like, I agree with you, Hoop. When you look at the 9K range and when you look at the 8K range, that is why I wanted to fade Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm. If we go back to that original discussion, is because you can make a very strong build living in that 9K and 8K range. So, like, I'm going to be interested, to see where you end up in cash. It would not surprise me if that's, kind of what I see. But in tournaments, I think DJ and Rahm are going to be phenomenal plays. So I'm going to have a mixture of both for sure. And it's going to be a very interesting week. But for me, in this range, man, we got Adam Scott and Jason Day down there too. 2 guys that, are phenomenal. Their putter is getting hot. It's going to be tough for sure. But for me, my 1 and 2, I got to say Matsuyama and Daniel Berger. Snyder, what about you? 1 and 2 in this range.
I like Scottie Scheffler and Paul Casey. I do like how you brought up Hatton and Berger. I'm usually a big Berger guy.
I had a burger tonight. I mean, I'm a big burger guy too. Hoop, you're 1 and 2 in this range.
Burger and Paul Casey. I like Casey.
Yeah, I mean, man, Casey has been playing good, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
T10, T5, God, I'm gonna have to play some Paul Casey too. I mean, you think you're gonna play him in cash this week or?
I mean, in cash, I think you're definitely going to want 3 guys in the 9K range. You're going to want probably three 9K, and then probably some 7K dudes. I'm assuming. I haven't fully built lineups for cash yet, but you're going to definitely want. Maybe you could do 2 9K and one of these 8K guys. I think that's in play as well. I mean, there's so many guys in the 9K and 8K range that just strike me as solid plays this week, like really solid plays, guys that are in really good form, guys that the course shapes up perfect for them. I just, in cash games, you're going to want to get as much exposure to 9K and 8K guys as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps us out a lot. It helps us keep this free. Again, we have partnered with Monkey Knife Fight. Use the code RUNPIER. You can get a match 100% up to $50 over there. We're going to have some Monkey Knife Fight plays for the Players Championship this week. Go check out the redesign of our site. Go to the site, subscribe, use the code free ticket. You'll get an entry you'll potentially get the ability to win a ticket of $600 for NBA. Let's go to this 7K range. Let's just go through the whole range. Just hit on the guys that you like. I'm going to kick it to you first, Snyder.
Yeah, this is a pretty loaded range as well, like everything. First guy that pops out to me is Joaquin Neiman. Started off the 2021 really hot with a back-to-back top 2 finishes in Hawaii. Just a great tee to green player, solid ball striker. And then Abraham Answer, looks to be way underpriced down here. He just fits the mold for this second shot type golf course. He's got great approach. And then Russell Henley, great ball striker. Corey Connors, I was on big last week. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to that well, though. The guy I really like is Sammy Burns, our boy Sammy Burns.
Oh,
He busted us last week, but I feel like we're going to jump right back on when everyone jumps off.
Man, how volatile were his rounds? Holy shit. Like he'd come back to life and then he'd just like hit a double bogey, get 2 birdies, come back with 2 that was a wild ride last week.
Yeah, I think he was 2 shots inside the cut line with like 5 holes to go and bogeyed 4 of the 5 or something.
It was crazy.
It was nuts. And another guy, I know JSU will hit on this guy tomorrow, but Bezuidenhout, or however he pronounces it, he's been really solid. I mean, his off the tee and approach game kind of worries me, but the putter and around the green game has been real solid for him. And my boy down here, Chris Kirk,
good call last week. I mean, you were on Chris Kirk, and nobody else was talking about him. That was a really solid call.
Yeah, I've been on him pretty much this whole year. He's opened 4 top 16s, open 21.
Yeah.
He's made 6 to 7 cuts here, and I really like his upside here at 7K.
Yeah, Kirky was a phenomenal call. I mean, this time last year, I was taking a guy named Kirky's money in CPC streets and getting banned from that. So if Kirky can make me money again, I'm all for it.
You love to see it.
Yeah, you definitely do. Hoop, I'm going to kick it to you. 7K range. What are you seeing down here?
The chat. Yeah, the guy asked am I drinking wine in a water glass? Yes, that is correct. I don't trust myself with wine glasses. I don't like the structure of an actual wine glass. So if I drink wine, I just drink it in a standard cup. So that answers the question. And then our boy Derek.
Did you see chat? I had in a red cup, a little with ice. It was some like real cheap bottle of white wine. I didn't care. The ice made it better. Kay Fallick was not appreciating that, though. He was giving me a hard time. Our boy Kay Fallick.
Yeah, on a heater, by the way. Just absolute steamer in multiple sports. Good dude in the Discord. I mean, if there's one reason to join RPS. I mean, right now, one of the hottest things is this Discord chat with guys like K Phallic, who just, man, post their cord just right in this chat and just smashing. This range is, I hate to say it, but it's another loaded range. I mean, there's a lot of good guys here. I agree with the Neiman call. Kokrak's a guy who's been playing really solid golf. I mean, 32nd, 9th, 8th. He looked really good last week. Zalatoris, 7.6K. Another guy, really, really solid. Solid with his irons. 15th, 22nd, 10th. He's too cheap. Max Homa. A lot of people, no one's really talking about Homa. Homa's quietly been playing very good golf. Got the win. So, I mean, you look at this game log, and it is very impressive. Dating back to the start of this year, American Express 21st, the Farmers 18th, Waste Management 14th, Pebble Beach 7th, got the win at Genesis, 22nd at the Workday, 10th last week. He is playing some really, really good golf, and not many people are talking about him, so I think he might come in low. I agree with the answer call. Ricky Flower is always a fade for us. We got AP's bet. AP. How bad do you feel for him? Just in an absolute rut.
I don't feel bad at all for him. Have you seen his wife?
I put him in
doing
round
just
3.
fine. He's doing just fine. He's on all these commercials. Ricky Fowler is doing just fine. I feel
he just took
not bad for him at all.
If you're watching and you didn't see that video, just Google it. The guy announced him. What was it, on Sunday or Saturday when they announced?
Yeah.
I don't know what day it was, but
I think it was Saturday.
Yeah, it was on Saturday, and the guy gets up there now, defending champion of blah blah blah, Ricky Flower, and he just kind of just takes it, waves his hand. That was a tough scene, but that was that was tough for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Flower. Connors is just playing really solid golf. He was right there last week. Sammy Burns, good play. Cameron Tringali, 7.2K. I have a lot of him. I really like Cameron Tringali. One guy I'm still deciding on. I've been playing quite a bit. I do like him. Disappointed last week, but Cameron Davis, 7.1K. And Chris Kerr, I mean, Snyder, it was a phenomenal call. I mean, Snyder hit me up in Discord and said, check out, make sure you keep an eye on Chris Kirk. And he did not disappoint. He's playing some really solid golf. He just looks confident out there. He's just been solid. So 7K, I'll definitely be back on Chris Kirk. But a lot of good plays here, really are. Yeah.
So I missed. So we actually, going back to the start of the show, I really, messed this up. That's why I don't do those things very often. But Abe Answer was a guy who I'm just looking. I have yes by his name. He's another guy that finished inside the top 22 in 2019. And has a T5 or better this year. So he fits that criteria that I'm looking at. I think he is my overall favorite play in this range. I just think, this guy, I feel very confident about him making the cut. I feel very confident about his putter. I feel very confident about his overall game, his approach game, tee to green game, how he's striking the ball. Finished 18th at the WGC event. And I just, he finished 12th here in 2019. I just think 7.5K, if I'm thinking about a build where I am, starting that 9K range, loading up, if I'm loading up on the studs in the 8K range, if I could, finish my build with the answer where he is my lowest price guy. And there's guys much lower that I feel very good about too, but I would feel very good about that build, getting a 6-6 through on that build. So I have a ton of interest in answer this week. I think he's going to have a very good week. Zalatoris is a guy that just grinds. This course is made for him. He's a ball striker, which, in chat, I remember on Saturday, people were tilting. He couldn't make a putt to save his life, but he still finished T10. He paid off his price tag. So, we'll tilt him in showdown formats when he's not putting good. But, man, the players is just built for him. He's good off the tee, good on approach. Imagine, building a lineup with Morikawa, Zalatoris, all these guys that just, tee to green, like Paul Casey, they're going to be getting it done for you.
Yeah. And one more thing about Zalatoris, he's one of the few guys that didn't implode on Sunday. Like he shot a respectable 72. I mean, guys were shooting 78, 79. He fired a 72. That was a very solid score on Sunday.
I think it was you, Hoop, that mentioned it last week that it was an interview or something that you listened to that he was getting high praise from his peers in the golf world. That this guy is here for the long term. He's going to be a guy that is going to be a multiple-time winner on tour. And man, we're seeing that he's grinding week in and week out. He reminds me of like a better version of Sung J M, who plays every single week and it's just getting it done. I mean, T10, T22, T15. A T17 at the waist, the WMPO. So, I mean, he's right there. I have a ton of interest in him. Jason Kokrak, I think he's very, very strong this week. He coming off a T8, T9. Neiman is a guy I always love. Tommy Fleetwood, we obviously talked about. I'm off Rose. He looked good through a couple rounds and whatever, but, this guy hits one or two bad shots and then withdrawals. He was paired there with Spieth, and I think it was after Spieth made his ace too. But I don't know. I'm tired of Rose. I'm not playing Oosthuizen. Like if Oosty ever beat, it's just the dude withdraws all the time. Like I'm just not going to play him for that reason alone. He's obviously not a man of the people. Like it's just why even play him? If he beats us, he beats us. Let's just always fade that guy. I have no interest in playing him at all. I just think he just tilts us way more often than not. Max Homa, I think, is a guy that's going to go very low owned. And if we're talking about guys that fit the mold that we want to attack this week, guys who have finished, very good on the year already. This guy has a win, and he's followed it up with very good results in Florida too, which he hasn't been known for. He's always been California kid, and his results have really heavily leaned out there. He's taken his very strong form out to Florida, and he's done very well. So I have a ton of interest in him. And then it's Abe Answer, obviously, is my favorite play. And then I agree with you guys. Like Corey Connors, he fits the mold, like good ball striker, but we can't play all of these guys. I think I would play an Abe Answer over him, or a Zalatoris, or Homa, or Kokrak over him. And then Tringali. If I'm thinking about my roster construction this week, if I'm thinking about, fitting DJ in there, fitting Rom in there, I might need Tringali to finish off my build. And if that happened, I'd feel very good about it. This guy's been playing very well of late, as both of you talked about, and he's made the cut here 3 out of the last 5 times, 15, 16, and 17, with some respectable finishes. So obviously he has good course history here. And then, I'd be remiss if I didn't also agree with the Kirky call, as I mentioned before. I love it when Kirky can make us money. And I'll probably have a share or 2 this week. So for me, though,
speaking of Kirky, name someone that ran more pure during the CPC days than Kirky until AP just freaking owned his ass.
Oh man, I mean,
he was running so hot. He was running so hot in the CPC streets, and AP just freaking stuck it to his ass.
I will say that was the fun part about COVID. We had a lot of good times. It was a lot of money exchanging hands in those days. It was a good time. We got to get it started up. We got our boy Tony with all this money that he's probably just sitting in cash, somewhere. I mean, we got to get him out there. There's some money to be made off our boy Tony. We got to start it back up. For me, my overall favorite play though is Answer in this range. I think my number 2. I got to say Zalatoris. I just feel very good about where his game's at right now, and no course history here, but that has not mattered at all when he's tackled a lot of these courses where it's been a first time for him. So Snyder, you're 1 and 2.
Tommy Fleetwood and either Sammy Burns or Chris Kirk.
I forgot about Fleetwood. He'd be up there too. So Hoop, 1 and 2.
Zalatoris and Max Homa.
I like those plays. All right, 6K range. For me, this will be easier. I don't have a ton of interest down here. There are a few interesting plays, but I'll likely want to avoid them. But again, Snyder, I'll kick it to you first.
Yeah, I've got a few names I'm looking at down here. I'm not fully sold on everything down here, but I'm going to roll back with my guy, Matthew Neesmith. He kind of broke our hearts last week, but he's still ranking 7th in approach over the last 24 rounds. He's just been hitting the ball great. He lost, 4 strokes putting last week, I think. Then I like Emiliano Grillo. Mangone was blowing me up about him earlier. He just loves his off the tee game. Ranks 22nd in peak dive courses over the last 36 rounds. He's becoming a lot more consistent from what we used to think of him. Andrew Putnam, he's coming off back-to-back top 5s. So I'm not sure if he'll get much traction or not. The putter's been hot for him, which is kind of worrisome. And our boy, we were on this guy early in the year. Comes in at 6.1K. He's made 5 of 6 cuts. He unlocks a lot. He's just been solid off the tee and approach. Our boy, Bo Hogue, down there at 6'1".
I like Hogue.
Man, you weren't lying about Grillo. Like that. So I always look at this last 24 rounds of putting. I like to see kind of an upward trend. But then there's guys like Grillo, like Keegan Bradley, where it just always looks bad. Grillo's putter doesn't like it's not good, but it's surprisingly good for him, if that makes sense. So I don't mind that call. I didn't mean to cut you off, Snyder. Was that the end of your list?
That's pretty much it for right now. I'll look into more, but
no, you don't need to. We got plenty of elite plays. Hoop, I'm going to kick it over to you. What are you doing with the 6K range this week?
Yeah. I appreciate Snyder leaving my boy for me. He didn't want to talk about him, so I know he likes him. But he didn't want to be the first to mention his name. So obviously I will, and that is my boy who I have an extreme man crush on, Richie Werenski, 6.4K. Definitely playing him this week. There's just no turning back at this point. I mean, obviously not expecting a top 5 performance like we saw last weekend, but if you're down in this range, you just want someone to make a cut. Overall, though, I mean, you look at this, and more than half the field is under 7K this week. That just goes to show how strong this field is overall. You don't want to be in this range all that often, and Snyder was able to, obviously there's probably more guys you have a little interest in, but notable dudes, 3 or 4, you don't want to go overboard down here. I don't think it's going to be a good week for you if you're living and dying in this 6K range. But a couple of names I do really like. Brian Harmon at 6.9K strikes me as a little underpriced, a steady golfer. I just don't think he is a 6.9K golfer even in this field. I think he belongs in that 7K range. So at 6.9K, feel good about him making the cut, and he's been golfing pretty well lately. Come down a little bit more. I mentioned Werenski. I will obviously be playing him. I'll probably play him just about every week. I think he's pretty damn good. I agree with the Bo Hogue call though. Bo Hogue call really. He's been solid, and I mean 6.1K, right? I'm looking for him down here. Yeah, 6.1K. 26th, 32nd, 36th, 18th, made 5 out of his last 6 cuts, 6.1K. I'll take my chances on him. Mark Hubbard is a guy way down here. Interesting play. I mean, definitely a deep tournament type play, but if he makes the cut, I think he could do some good. Doug Gim at 6.2K had a monstrous round 3, shot a 65, but followed it up on Sunday with one of the worst scores on the course with that 81. He was right up there after Saturday, and he completely tanked. Putnam is an interesting one, 6.3K, golfing really well. I mean, you look 1, 2, 5 straight made cuts, 2 top 5s, like you said. But I mean, one was the Puerto Rico Open, so I mean that's not a very strong top 5. But last week's top 5 was very strong, so I think he's definitely in play. Nick Taylor, a little bit of interest in him, 6.4K. He's starting to cool off a little bit. Cut 39th, 20th, cut last week, but 6.4K. I think the course kind of fits him pretty well. But yeah, I mean, these are sprinkle plays. I mean, you're not going to want to go overboard. I mean, I love Richie Werenski. I've said it. I really like the guy. I think he's really solid. I am not going to play Richie Werenski as much as I played him last week, as much as I like him, just because the way this field is shaping up. So it's risky to come down here all that often.
So I got a guy that really fits the mold that I'm looking for this week. He checks every box. He's not a guy I play very often, but when I was doing my review of the slate, I was very surprised at how well he's been playing. But Charlie Hoffman, T10, T52, T7, his last 3 events, but his ball striking has been very good. He ranks 11th in this field, 10th on approach over his last 24 rounds, 19th tee to green. He's hitting fairways, and he's 13th in greens and regulation, like over his last 24 rounds. So and his putting is very good. I was surprised when I was looking at him, but he just, I wonder, he's a guy, he lost a bunch of weight, and this was over a year ago, but I wonder if it just took time for him to get his swing back dialed in. I remember talking about playing him he's looking better, he's healthier now, but his game sucked, and this was like a year ago. He's finally playing better. Maybe finally things are clicking. Not a guy I play very often. Again, if I can finish my build in the 7K range, I'm going to this week, but I do have a few guys check mark that I'm going to be looking at. Charlie Hoffman is one of them. Keegan Bradley is another one of them. He's just a very good ball striker. He had a very good finish last week. He has a lot of good history here. The course sets up very well for him. And if we don't have a lot of wind, that just gives these ball strikers even more ammo. Like they know their distances, and they're going to be able to fire at these pins. And the winds are, usually when we get this event later in the season, the winds are one of the main defenses here. I don't think that is going to be the case this week. So if you're looking at, comparison, I would look at the non-windy days, last week at the Arnold Palmer. I love the Werenski call. I love the Grillo call. I'm definitely, a fan of that. But, for me, I really want to limit my exposure to this range. I think I'm going to keep it, my 6K player pool, very, very small this week. I think for me, I don't want to take your guys' play, so I'm going to say my favorite play is Hoffman, followed by Bradley. We already know who's favorite. So Snyder, let's kick it to you. Who's your 1 and 2?
I'm gonna go with Matthew Neesmith for my first, and then I'm just gonna go for the GPP play of Bo Hogue. He kind of opens up a lot. I really, just like you guys said, I really don't want to be dipping down here too much, so I want to make just a few selections.
Yeah, I like that. Did you have a 2 hoop, or a Werenski?
Yeah, in Harmon. I like Harmon at 6.9K.
Yeah, I think Harmon is like if I finish, he's down there with if last guy in, he's a cup maker, in that DJ around type of build, I think works. Yeah, all right. So if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This part of the show, we are gonna go with our winners, and we give one where the odds don't matter, price doesn't matter, and then we give kind of a sleeper, a longer shot. And I'm really excited that we have Snyder with us because he's been on absolute fire. So here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna save the GOAT for last. So we're gonna go hoop. Then we're going to go me. Then we're going to go the GOAT, Snyder. So, hoop, talk to me about who you think is going to win this week.
Yeah, at the top, more shorter odds. I really like Webb Simpson to win this week. Like I said, I think he's underrated. He belongs in that tier, I think, with the guys that can just come out and win any event. So I'm gonna pick Webb to win at the top. And I'm going to go Max Homa. Not many people talking about him. He's playing really, really solid golf. I think the course fits him well. So, yeah, give me Webb and give me Max Homa.
I like those 2 plays. I am going to go with Jon Rahm as my – so 16-1, Jon Rahm as my odds don't matter. I think he checks a lot of boxes. And it's just funny because I was kind of off him at first, but then the more I looked at it and I was just like, he's just too good. He could definitely be a players champ. I could see him winning that before like a major. So I think he just checks a ton of boxes. Love where his game's at. Longer shot for me, and I don't think it'll be that much of a longer shot. It gets difficult down here because there's so many guys down here in this range. I think I'm going to go with Abe Answer, 70-1. Those are right there with Max Homa. I might have to put an outright on him too. 71 is very nice for a guy that, gosh, if we get no win, if we get a very scoreable course, he can hang. Like, he's proven that he can hang. And so those are my two guys. Snyder, kick it over to you. Who are your two picks that you feel most confident about this week?
Yeah, there's a ton of really good options that you can take this week, and I'll have my bets article up tomorrow, so make sure to head over to Run Pure Bets at its normal time. I'll have my full card up over there. Been crushing it. Yeah. We got to go with Colin Morikawa. He's gonna pull it off back to back. It's coming. If the putter heats up, it's over. Another interesting stat about Colin Morikawa. This last time he played here, he said that it was in an interview. He was saying, like, I kind of figured something out with my putter the last time I was here, which his first event back, he got second at, I can't remember which event that was, but he gained like 5 strokes putting and then it kind of disappeared again. And the putting's back last week. The long shot, we're going to go with my boy, Chris Kirk.
Ooh, that is a long shot. I like it. What are his odds?
I think it's
He's like 100-1.
Yeah, I thought it was right around 100, 150.
Yeah. DK has it 125-1.
125-1. I like that a lot. Yeah. Final thoughts this week, guys, before we get out of here. Bankroll management, up in volume, lower in volume. How do you feel about this week?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I feel good about this week. I mean, I'm going to play for, what I normally do at the majors. I just think it's I just feel really good about these plays. I mean, we're getting close with our calls here at Run Pure Sports. I think we're going to have a really, really big week all around. The Ricky all-in last week didn't feel – it was close. I mean, it was close, but it was a mistake. This week, I really, really like where we're at.
Did you say Ricky, or were you just trying to troll me, make me feel bad?
Did I say
Ricky? Oh, yeah. Just turning the knife.
I meant to say Rory. I meant to say Rory.
Same difference, right? I mean,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Final thoughts. Snyder, up in volume, or you got any final thoughts? Things you're looking at this week.
Yeah, I'm going to play some more volume this week than I normally do. More cash. I'm going to jump up the GPP some. I really like more of like the even build, like starting up with like 9K, 2 or 3 guys up around there, jamming him as much win equity as I can, and hope to get 6 to 6 across and just have a chance on Sunday. That's what I'm about.
I agree with you guys. I think it's a great week to kind of up volume a little bit. I think there is a nice edge in a lot of what we talked about. So for me, I definitely have 5 like main builds locked in. So if you're a member and you're looking at the core plays, make sure to read the note section about our core plays. I'll elaborate a little bit more on how I'm tackling at least my 5 main builds. Might do it a little bit more than that. I don't think I'll go more than 10. But I just think I want the right mix and match and exposure to that solid 8K range, solid 9K range, and DJ and John Rahm specifically. So that is kind of how I'm tackling this week. I'm very excited about it. Feel very confident about this week. Run Pure is going to have a phenomenal week. I think we're going to see logos at the top of leaderboards, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So with that, guys, I'm AP, Hoop, Snyder. Let's all have a good week, and let's all run Pure.